Why would anyone want a guide to somewhere so unpleasant? Because no matter how much traveling you do in life, there are only two destinations that ultimately matter, heaven or hell. And that's why I've written this book, because we have to begin in hell if we want to avoid ending up there. Many authors have attempted to write about the subject, most notably Dante Alighieri in The Inferno, John Milton in Paradise Lost, and C.S. Lewis in The Great Divorce and The Screwtape Letters. While my guide is not to be compared to those masterpieces, it does have one advantage. Those other books are epic poems or works of fiction, and as such, they depict hell in symbolic and allegorical terms. The whole purpose of this book is to show you what hell is actually like. To show you hell up close and personal. To give you all the distressing details. To keep things theologically correct, but as simple, straightforward, and real as possible. Like all guidebooks, this one attempts to describe the sights, sounds, and sensations of its destination. It discusses the historical background and explores local customs, laws, and governing structures. It talks about the kinds of individuals you might meet and describes the accommodations that might be provided for the inhabitants, as well as the activities available to them. This guide is essentially designed to allow you to visit the bottom of the bottomless pit without having to descend one step, to see the infamous fire and brimstone without having to get burned, to take a grand tour of all the hellish tortures you've heard about without having to experience them firsthand, and, one hopes, without enduring an overly preachy, difficult text. Be advised, however, that travelers making this excursion today should take a few precautions. First, no matter your spiritual beliefs, an open mind is necessary. For the moment, we haven't even defined what hell is or speculated where it might be located or given any particulars of what it might be like, other than to assert that it exists. Second, it's important to understand our limited scope. This is not a book of Christian apologetics. It is not designed to demonstrate God's existence or prove any specific doctrine of faith. Rather, it assumes a basic belief in God and presents an orthodox interpretation of the Christian teaching on hell, a teaching that most traditions within Christianity will have no trouble accepting. Third, because of this limited scope, we will not be discussing subjects such as purgatory. Purgatory is a Catholic belief stating that since we must be in perfect agreement with the Father's will in order to enter heaven, there is a process of purification that saved souls must endure before seeing God face to face. It is not the purpose of this book to explain this doctrine, a source of significant contention between Catholics and Protestants for hundreds of years. Nor are we particularly concerned with presenting any rigorous moral or dogmatic theology. Indeed, there are many topics we could explore in a bigger book. For example, the meaning and nature of baptism and the age-old controversy between the importance of faith and works. But this is not a book on how to lead a good Christian life or even what it means to be saved. It's about one thing: what hell is like. And we will consider theological doctrines only as they make hell understandable and believable. Believability is fundamental to this guide. That's why there is a fourth point to keep in mind. Before going any further, you should be prepared to engage in some honest self-reflection. So many people, even good Christians, have a problem accepting that an all-good, loving, and merciful God could create such a hideous place as hell, and that he could force people he supposedly loves to suffer there forever. They can't wrap their minds around the idea of a God who sentences anyone to eternal punishment. This thinking, though understandable, is based on a faulty interpretation of the Christian concept of hell and the nature of evil. For evil is really the key to this whole book. It's the key to unlocking the mystery of eternal punishment in hell. As we shall see, once you understand how it's possible to love evil, it will be much easier to understand how some people can desire to be in hell.